Okay, yes, good morning, yes. Good morning, good morning. Let's continue the discussion. Okay, so last class we were discussing about the timer circuit in mode 2 operation. We also saw one of the method of entering the value to the upper byte of the timer using 2's complement method, wherein we need not calculate the hexadecimal value to be loaded to the timer. So when we know the number of clock pulses to be counted. Okay, so we look into one sample instruction about that. Okay. So let me. Okay, so this was the program for motor operation. So for in this case, number of clock pulses, you know, is three. Sorry, it was six. Six clock pulses to be counted. Just a second. Just 1 second. Oh, sorry. Okay, so let's in this program, the last class we had written. So we started the count with initial count as FA. Okay, so the number of clock pulses counted by the timer will be F in hexadecimal method FF minus FA plus one. Of course, plus one in the sense to count the delay. But if you take only this, the number of clock pulses, of course, plus one, of course. So this will be equal to, this 4. This will be equal to 4. Okay. So now, how to load this, 4? There is FA. There is number of clock pulses to be counted without calculating its, the actual value. That means if you know the number of clock pulses to be counted as 4, the value to be loaded to the timer is found out using hexadecimal method as ff minus 4. Okay, so that will give fa. Okay, so thereby straight away we'll enter here minus 4. This as, of course, we have to use hash because hash symbol indicates it is data. Okay, so we have to use the hash symbol, hash minus 4. Okay, so let us run this program and let us see. Okay, fine. So there's no issue with the program, and you can start session. Okay, let's observe this. The FA. There is a TH1. Okay, so let us see what will be the value. You know, debug error. Initial value will be F. Okay, F. Okay, it is plus one. We have to take correct. So it will be minus 5. Sorry. Yes, wait, wait, wait. Yes, somebody is on the line. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, let's go this. So it is FA. Okay, so FA is minus 5. So this I should make it as just to give. Okay. So it is -5 for FA. Minus 5. Oh, sorry. This is so save the program, build target, check for syntax error, debug start session. So this in this case the number of clock. Okay, so you can check this. No, the th1 value. So we have specified it as -5. There is number of clock pulses to be counted as -5. So this will straight away take the 2's complement of the hexadecimal value. 2's complement in hexadecimal format. Okay, it will take it as okay. It's taking as if no problem. Okay, so there is for the initial value. Okay, so that's how there's another way of entering the value to the timer. Okay, so this is possible only for the the mode to operation. It's not possible for other mode of operation, as we understood in the last class. We can take we can give maximum of 256 value, maximum of 256 value. Above this, the th1 cannot or any timer cannot take the value. Okay, so this method is possible only for the mode to operation of the timer. Yeah. So next guys will continue. Okay, timers can be used as a count. Okay, next is counter operation. Okay, so that is timers are used as a counter. So we have understood in the beginning, what is a counter? What is the difference between a timer and a counter? Timers are the circuits which counts internal clock pulse. Okay, so timers will take clock pulses from internal oscillatory circuit. Okay, oscillatory circuit. So these clock pulses are counted by the timer. The basic intention is to generate the delay. Basic intention of using the timer is to generate the delay. The same timer, if it is used as a counter, okay, what will happen is it will take clock pulses from external device. Okay, it can be an external, switching device, or it can be an external, what you call oscillatory circuit, or it can be an external another microcontroller device connected to the this device, this timer. Okay, timer or hardware. Okay, so external clock pulses are applied. Of course, it should be in the form of a clock pulse. We cannot apply a square pulse. No, it's not possible. You have to apply a clock pulse. These clock pulses, when are applied to the timer circuit from external device, timer acts as a counter, and the purpose of the count, as the name suggests, is to count the number of clock pulses. Basic intention is to count the number of clock pulses. Okay, it is used as a counter. Now for the counter hardware, just a second. Okay, so timer can also be used as a counters. There is counting external events happening outside the microcontroller. 8015 microcontroller. So when it is used as a counter, it is a pulse. There is the pulses are applied from outside to the microcontroller, and that increments the content of TH and TL. Okay, that is this timer. Whether we may make use of timer 0 or timer 1. So whenever we have external clock pulses are applied, the timer hardware increments the content of the timer. For example, it is a timer 0. Okay, so let us say it has two parts, TH0 and TL0, for example, TL0. Okay, so initial count is 0 0 0 0. So when the clock pulse appears, only when the clock pulse appears, the count increments. Okay, so next clock pulse, the count further increments like this. Okay, it's always up count. We understood in the last class that in 8051 based microcontroller, the count is always in the upward direction. Of course, in some controllers we have, where the count is in downwards possible. Okay, it's always possible. Some okay, no problem. Okay, so that's how counter always counts upwards. So this TMOD register and there is a TH and TL registers are the same for both the timer as well as counters. There is function is same. The TMOD and TCON registers functions are same. but only the source of the clock pulse is different. So instead of what you call, instead of internal oscillatory clock pulse, we are making use of the external oscillatory clock pulse to count the clock pulse. In turn, the intention is to use it as a counter. So programming the timer in the okay also applies. Okay, so that means same programming concept, procedure applies to timer also, but except in this case that we always start the timer with the initial count of zero. For example, let us say we are using timer zero. We'll keep upper byte of the timer zero as zero, and lower byte of the timer also as zero. Okay, so that whenever the clock pulse appears, the timer starts counting the clock pulse. For example, let us say count is, for example, 0011, for example. Okay, that means how many clock pulses the timer has counted? It has counted total of 3 clock pulses. Okay, so 3 corresponds to number of external events happening outside the microcontroller. Okay, if we start with some other initial count, let's say we start with the initial count of 0010, this as the initial count. So it has reached final count as, let us say, for example, 00, no, not 00, sorry, let us say 01111, for example. Okay, so how many clock pulses it has counted? It has counted a total of 4 number of clock pulses. 4 clock pulses which are happening, which are supplied from the external device. That's okay. So that's how the programming concept remains the same. Okay, that means once we start the timer, it starts accepting the external clock pulse instead of internal clock pulse. It will accept the external clock pulse and it starts counting the external clock pulses. Okay, what is the difference here? How to configure counter? How to select counter? Okay, so in DMOD register, we have to set this CT bar bit to 1. It's actually CT bar. In this document it is not shown. It's actually CT bar. Okay, so in this bit is set to 1. So counter mode is selected. Counter mode is selected. Instead of timer, it will select the counter mode. So this counter mode will decide the source of the clock for the timer. So if this bit is 1, the clock source is external to the microcontroller. If this bit is 0, the clock source is internal to the microcontroller. Okay, CT bar 1, the timer is used as a counter and gets the clock pulses from outside the microcontroller. Okay, so counter counts up as pulses are fed from pins 14 and 15. Okay, this we had okay. This we had seen in our the this I'll open the pin diagram. So there we have understood that the clock pulses, external clock pulses are applied to 2 pins, which are used to receive the clock pulse from external device, which will feed the clock pulses to the timer, and then the timer hardware starts counting. That as a timer will be called as a counter. So the same hardware will be called as a counter. Because in this case, if you can see the pin number P3.4 and P3.5, physical pin number is 14 and 15. These 2 pins are used as a counter input. Or we can call it as a timer input. There's nothing wrong, because it is same hardware. Timer input. The timer will be acting as a what is known as a counter. Let's hold on a second. I'm getting the call. ಮಂಜು ಮಂಜು ಹೇಳಿ ಆಯ್ತಾನೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ಹೌದು, ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಆಯ್ತು, ನಾ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. This just hold on a second. I got to make a call to Chudi madam. Just a second, please. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let's continue. So these two pins, pin number 14 and 15, are used as a timer input. So the timer hardware will be called as a counter. So the clock pulses are applied to these pins. For example, if you want to use the timer 0 as a counter, external devices are connected to this pin P3.4, which supplies the clock pulses. It supplies the clock pulse. The same thing applies to timer 1. Okay, so that means that acts as a clock input. The pins, physical pins, which accepts the clock pulses from the external device. That's pin number 14 and 15. So they are called as timer inputs, timer input pins. So this is given in little detail. Okay. So, but I need to check. Okay, because this is the case. Okay. So again, two modes of operations are used for the timer, just like a sorry counter, just like a timer operation. The only thing here is the clock pulses source is the external device which are applied to pin number 14 and 15, that is P3.4 and P3.5, when the CT bar is set as 1. So that means it is taking the the external clock pulses. Timer hardware is used as a counter. So this timer run bit. Okay. So even when the external clock pulses are applied, we can control the timer operation using TR bit. Okay, either TR0 or TR1. If these bits are equal to 1, timer will run. If these bits are set to 0, timer will stop accepting the external clock pulses. So we are using both in mode 1 operation. It is a 16-bit operation. We are using both the upper byte of the timer as well as lower byte of the timer. So when the timer overflows, for example, it is counting clock pulses. It has counted 65,000, for example. We started with it as a 0000. We have counted 65,536 number of clock pulses. So when on the application of next clock pulse from the external device, the count will reset to 0000. Okay, that means it has started with 00. It has reached FFFF. Okay, and the application of next clock pulse, the count will reset to 0000. That means the counter has overflown. This will set the timer flag to 1. There is no separate flag for the counter. Same timer flag is used as a counter overflow indication to indicate counter overflow condition. Okay, so this is very simple. This is for the mode 1 operation. So what will happen in case of mode 2 operation is auto reload mode, 8-bit auto reload mode. The lower byte of the timer will count the clock pulses from the external device. Initial count can be loaded in the upper byte of the timer. So that means, as I said, unless I want to count only externally 5 external events. If I start with 00, it will start counting the clock pulse. It will go up to FF, then it will go to initial counter. Okay, so by this time it has counted 256 clock pulses, but I wanted to only count external 5 events. But with initial count 0, it will count 256 external events. Okay, so in that case we have to load FA into FAH into upper byte of the timer. So it starts with FAH. So on the application of clock pulse, the external clock pulse, the count increments, and when it reaches FFH, okay, that means it has counted. Of course, on the application of next clock pulse, the counter is reset to 00. On the application of next clock pulse, the counter is reset to initial value of FAH. FAH. That means it has counted 5 external events. That's all. Okay. So there is the advantage of using the initial count. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the condition for the. There's one more thing. Okay, yes, this is the pin. Okay, so this is for the gate bit when we are using. Okay, this we'll discuss later. No problem. Let us look into the program now. One of the simple program for the timer register. Okay, so sorry, counter program using mode 2 operation. No problem. Okay, right. Let us see how to run this program. Okay, yes, what we do in this case is first a procedure, programming steps. Same same step, just like what we understood for the timer operation. First step is load value to TMOD register to select to select counter in a particular mode of operation. In a particular mode of operation. Okay, load initial value to the timers. Load initial value, initial count if required. Okay, initial count to the timer. Next step is start the timer. Start the timer using set B instruction. Monitor overflow flag. Monitor overflow flag. Overflow flag. Okay, and of course, once the overflow condition is reached, it is left to the programmer. They can stop the timer or they can continue, stop or continue. Okay, but very important step is, oh, sorry, yeah, very important step is clear the overflow flag. Clear the overflow flag. Clear the overflow flag. This is very important. Okay, so only change in these steps is the first step. Okay, that is how do we change the, how do we configure the counter. This is very important. Okay, because we have to configure the timer as a counter, so that we have to look into. Okay, okay, so let's look into the program. So first step is configure the timer as a counter. So in this case, timer 1 is used as a counter 1 in mode 2 operation. In mode 2 operation. Okay, so the value loaded to the timer is 60H. 60. Of course, in this case, the author has shown in the using binary bit is so that we can understand, which are the bits which are being set and reset. Okay, for example, the first bit is gate bit. So this is CT bar. The second bit is CT bar. So this should be set to 1 so that we can select it as a counter. Okay, so next is mode 2. So M1, M0. This is M1, M0. So this is 2. Okay, and timer 0 we are not using. Okay, and hence it is reset to 0. Okay, fine. So initial value is 0. Let us say we don't want to set any initial count. Initially it is 0. Okay, so okay, now next is we are receiving the clock pulses from timer. Just now I showed, we saw that, 2 pins are used for the counting purpose. Okay, pin number 15, 14 is used for timer 0, which acts as a counter 0. Pin number 15 is used for timer 1, which acts as a counter 1. Okay, so that means, guess in the, of course, this will discuss, when we take up the interfacing concepts. All these physical pins, that is port pins, are by default input pins, no doubt. When it is, microcontroller is run, all the pins are reset to 1. All the internal pins, that is in the special function register, we have these pins are represented by the locations. For example, port 0, port 1. Okay, so all these locations are set to 1 initially. That means all these ports are configured as a input port. Okay, so if you want to use it as output port, we have to reset it to 0. For example, let us say I want to use port P0.3 as output port. I need to reset it to 0. If I want to use it as input port, I need to set it to 1. So by default, all the pins are set to 1 in the beginning. It is always a good practice to set it in the program to configure the pin as a input port. Okay, so in this case, there is P3, you can see that, pin number P3.5, that is the T1 input. T1 input, that is counter 1 input. It is set to 1 to configure it as a input port. To configure it as a input port. Input port. Okay, fine. Start the timer. Once the timer starts, it will start receiving the external clock pulse, and then it is a counter. Okay, yes. So once once it starts counting the clock pulse, okay, what will happen is it will have the count. There is the lower byte of the timer as the count. That count you can save it somewhere, because we need that external event count. Let's say 10 clock pulses are counted, 10 external events are counted, so that we can save it in a particular register. That you can send it to port also. All this can be done. There is the programming. That's based on the program. The program statement. Assume that the clock pulses are fed into P1 pin T1. Write a program for counter 1 in mode 2 operation to count the clock pulses and display the state of the TL1 count on P2. Okay, which connects to 8 LEDs. Okay, so with that purpose, for that intention, the count is sent to port P2. Okay. So wait till the flag is set to 1. Once the flag is set to 1, we can stop the counter. We can clear the overflow flag so that we can use that counter for the next stage of operation, or one more time. So repeat this operation. Okay, fine. How to do this? Of course, now in the simulation, we don't in this environment we don't have external clock pulses to be applied. That we can do it in the hardware, but in simulator we can do that. How to do that? I'll show you. Okay. So let me write the program for the counter operation. Yeah, let us. Okay, let's go to the compiler. Anybody waiting? No. Okay. So now it is the counter operation. So the value loaded to the T mod register is 608. 608. That is counter 1 in mode 2 operation. So initial value, let us say move, that is th1, that is let us mode 2 operation, th1 comma hash. Let us start with 00, no problem. Okay. So now I'll not do this operation as sending to accumulator. We can send it to P2. Of course, to send it to P2, first we have to send it to accumulator so that we can parallel check. Okay, let me take this to operation so that we can see the count. So let's say move a comma TL1. That is the lower byte of the timer is copied into the accumulator. That can be sent to any port. That is P0, for example. In the program, the author has taken the port 2. You can take any port. That's not an issue. Okay. Start the timer. Set B TR1. Okay. So wait till the flag is set to 1. So once the flag is set to 1, it will jump out of this loop. Okay. So after starting the this I forgot one important step. That is here also. Start the timer is okay. Start the timer is given. Correct. Start the timer is given. No problem. Start the timer should come before the this step, so that it can take the count. So okay. So first we have to configure P1. This P3.5. There is a timer 1 input. There is counter 1 input as the input port. Okay. Set B P3.5. P3. It will set the counter 1 as a input, timer 1 as a input. That means that that pin as a input port. Okay. So wait, check the overflow flag TF1 comma dollar symbol indicates same line. You can give some name to this, repeat. You can say repeat for it, or wait, something like that. So you can give any name. No problem. This dollar symbol means the same line, It's as good as writing wait. Instead of wait, I'm writing the dollar symbol. Okay. So once the no overflow flag condition occurs, stop the timer. That is clear TR1. Okay, and clear the overflow flag TF1. If you want to repeat, you can repeat this. Short jump to okay. Let's say repeat. So where we can go back, this is not necessary. Once it is configured as input port, we need not do it again. And since it is a mode operation, we need not set the initial value. Okay, so we have to go back here just a second, because okay, yeah, because we have to start the timer, because we have stopped the timer here. If we don't stop it here, we need not go back here. That's how it is. Okay, let's say for example, if this is not done, so we need not go back here. By default it is understood, timer will continuously run. We can go back here. Okay, repeat. So simple program. Okay, so let us look into this program. Let me run the program. So I'm using port 1. So I need to any errors? No. Debug the start session. Okay. So now what are the things we can notice, guys? In this case, counter operation. Of course, I'm not interested in the waveform now, because anyway it will generate some waveform, square waveform, no doubt. I'm not interested in the timing period of the waveform. So what we have to check is the counter operation. First thing is we have to look into timers, of course, no doubt. Also IO ports, port 0. Okay, this is important. Port 0 as well as port 3, because port 3 consists of the what you call this T1, that is timer 1 input. Okay, so which is the timer 1 input case? So in this case, if you see the port 3, this is the LSB. If you can see the number, this is 0, this is 7. That means this end is LSB. This is the usual convention, of course, as you guys know. This is MSB. Okay, so it is P3.5. That is P3.5 means 6th pin of port 3. Okay, so which is the 6th pin of port 3, guys? Okay, so this is the 8th pin, 8th, 6th, this is the 6th pin. Okay, that means this pin. Okay, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 6th pin. Sorry, P3.5, no, 6th pin, correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 5, P3.5. Yes, I'm sorry. P3.5, this pin. This pin is the P3.5. This is the, of course, 6th pin. Total there are 8 pins. Out of 8 pin, P3.5 is the 6th pin. 6th pin of port 3. 6th pin of port 3. Okay. So we need to toggle that pin. Okay. Now what we do is, okay, timer 1, we are using timer 1. Okay, in mode 2 operation. I'll run the program using F11 on my keyboard. Okay. So for starting from the first program, first line F11. So first line is executed. What does the first line indicate? This first line will configure timer 1 as a counter in mode 2 operation. You can see that counter is selected. Okay, you can see that other possibility is the timer, but when since we are in the program we are configuring timer as a counter, automatically counter will be selected. Okay, fine. So when counter is selected, it will receive the input through T1 pin. It will receive the input through T1 pin. It will load the count external clock pulse to this the lower byte of the timer. Initial value will be in the upper byte, and the counted clock pulses will go to the lower byte of the timer. Okay, so observe these locations. Okay, so next line of execution, initial count is 0. Anyway, no problem. TH1 is set to 0. So now set B P3.5 to 1. It's already set to 1 actually. No problem. Where to check P3.5 to 1, guys? If you check here P3.5, you could notice that all the bits are initially was set to 0. How to observe that is, let us do this now. No problem. Let us come back. Let us repeat this again. Initially, I'll set all the bits to 0. Then I'll show you how to that P3.5 is being set to 1. Build target, debug start session. Okay. F11 on my keyboard. Initially, I'll reset all the pins to 0. Initially, I'll reset all the pins to 0 in port 3. Similarly, in port 0 also, I'll reset all the pins to 0 initially to start with. Okay. That means if it is 0, that means it is taking it as a output port. All the pins are configured as a output port. Okay. Yes. Let us run the program. F11 on my keyboard. First is timer 1 in counter mode of operation. Okay. Yes. Observe this. This is not set to 1 as of now. Why? Because this was taken from here. Initially, it was set to 1. Now, since I reset to 0, this is also reset to 0. This is also reset to 0. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Let us run the program. F11 on my keyboard. Initial value set to 0. No problem. When now observe this, guys. Observe these two locations. One is this location and this location. Okay. I'm setting the pins as 1. Okay. In the program. So both the pins are set to 1. Okay. Both the pins are set to. That means T1 input, that is P3.5, is now configured as an input port. It's configured as an input port. All other pins are configured as an output port. All other pins are configured as an output port. F11 on my keyboard, start the timer. Okay, fine. Now we have started the timer, but if you see this TL1, there is no count. Why? Because we are not giving any clock. We are not giving any clock pulse from externally. Okay, how to give the clock pulse? Yes, P3.5. Somebody's on the line. So, okay. So P3.5. Yeah, here it is. is that Sampurnananda? You know. Okay, fine. Here we go. No problem. Okay. So, okay. Sampurnananda, your mic was on actually. That's why you are muted. So you can reset it, no problem. Okay, fine. Here we go. Okay. So if you observe now, okay. So it is set to 1. That means it is ready to take the clock pulses from the external device. Okay. Now what happens is that these are, see, there are two things. This okay. So this is port 3. There is the condition of the, you know, the internal register, internal location, that I'll show you here also. Okay. What is the port 3 address, guys? Byte address of port 3. It is internal memory. It is 8090A0. Port 3, no. Port 3 is B0. Port 3 is B0. Okay. B, not B0. Port 3, sorry. Port 3 is just a second. Because B0 to port 3 is port 2, port 3 is B0, correct? Port 3 is B0. So what we see here is just where it is. Here we go. Okay. B0, that is the internal memory. It is showing the 20. Okay, so the count is 20. Oh, correct. It is 20. No, I don't know why I'm confused. Okay, it is 20. Correct, because it is 0010 0000. It's correct. It is 20H. Correct. Okay. Now this top row corresponds to internal memory location. That is B0. That is this one. You know, in the SFR special function register block, the top row corresponds to this location of the internal memory. That is port 3, internal memory. Whereas the bottom row, what we can see in the compiler, you know, this bottom row corresponds to physical pin on the IC. It corresponds to the physical pin on the IC. That is port 3 pins. These pins, you know, on the physical pins, it corresponds to these pins of the IC. Port 3 pins. Not all these, of course. Only these pins, port 3 pins, only port 3 pins of the IC. Okay. So thereby, in the beginning, in the earlier classes, if you remember, you know, we had discussed that even if you reset physical pin, okay, it may not take the that may not be stored in the memory. Whereas if you change the internal location data as 1 or 0, that will be reflected on the pin. But whereas if you set it on the pin, that will be reflected in the internal memory only when the microcontroller reads the data. That's all it is. Okay, so that you can check out. You know, yeah. Now let us count the clock pulse. For clock pulse, what we have to do is we have to reset this pin. You know, this pin corresponds to physical pin. This pin corresponds to physical pin. When we toggle this, that means we are applying the clock pulse. That is, toggle means when it is set to 1 and reset to 0. Again, when it is set to 1. And again, when it is reset to 0, that means we are applying a clock pulse. Let us do this. Okay. So the program is running. It is in the run session. So when I change this, guys, did you observe this? Did you observe this one, guys? Initially, this was 0. Initially, this was 0 0. Now, when I reset it to 0, when I made this pin 0, the count is set to 1. That means it has counted one clock pulse, one external clock pulse. Now, let us say again I set it to 1. Of course, this does not change. See, this will not. This will change only on the transition. Okay, transition from 1 to 0. Okay, it will not be affected when the external clock pulse goes from 0 to 1. It will be affected only when it is clock pulse goes from 1 to 0, not from 0 to 1. Okay, here we go. Again, when I make it 0. Notice that the count has incremented. The count has incremented. That means now it is counting external clock pulses applied to the P3.5. External clock pulses applied to P3.5. What will happen? Just okay. What will happen if this pin is toggled? For example, let's say instead of toggling the physical pin, I'll toggle the location. Let us see what happens. Okay. Did you notice that? Oh yeah, it is changing. Why? Because this pin also corresponds to See, because if you change this pin, it is as good. Okay, observe this. It may not be clearly visible. Yeah, I'll erase this. So if you toggle this pin, it is as good as toggling the physical pin. That's why the count is incrementing. Okay. Whereas if you toggle this pin, observe this. This generates error. This is not possible. Okay. That means to guess what is the meaning of that is to take the data from the external device that is on this physical pin. On this physical pin, if the data is fed to the pin, the microcontroller will receive this data only if the internal pin corresponding to P3.5 is set to 1. Internal pin corresponding to P3.5, if it is set to 1, the microcontroller will accept the clock pulses from the external device through P3.5. If this pin is reset to 0, microcontroller will not accept the clock pulses from which are fed to the pin number P3.5. That is the meaning. Okay. So that is a conclusion from this. So that's why what we have to do is we have to make sure that this pin is already on. Only if this pin is on, when you toggle this, you can notice that the count is incrementing in the upward direction. Incrementing means upward direction. Okay. The count is incrementing. The count is incrementing. Okay. At the same time, okay. So this is incrementing. This continuously running. Let us say, for example, I'll stop giving the external clock pulse. I'll continue the execution of the program. Okay, F11 on my keyboard. What will happen is whatever the count counted by the timer, which is acting as a counter, that data now will be copied into accumulator. Sorry. Okay, this data now will be copied into accumulator. This will be copied into accumulator here. Okay, so let us observe that. F11 on my keyboard. So initially the count was 8. That means the time counter hardware has counted external 8 clock pulses, external events, 8 external events. So that is copied into accumulator. Okay. In the next instruction execution, the same thing will also be copied into port 0. Port 0. Okay. Let us observe this. F11 on my keyboard. Port 0. Okay. Yes, it is 8 actually. Please observe this. Why it is 8? 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0. It is 08H, correct. But what happened to this lower row? Lower row is reset. That means we are not applying clock pulses on the port 0 pins. Only the internal memory is affected. Only the internal memory will be loaded with the data from the lower byte of the timer 1, which is acting as a counter. F11 on my keyboard. Of course, this line is infinite line. Why? Because we are not giving any clock pulses. Of course, if you give the clock pulse, the count increases. This we have to go on giving till it becomes FFH. So it takes time. Maybe we could have started with some other value. Like F2 or FCH. This timer will overflow very fast. Okay. Now this is not possible. It will take a lot of time. Okay. So anyway, when we give 256 number of clock pulses through this P3.5, then this TF1 will be set to 1. This TF1 will be set to 1. Then the compiler will come out of this line and it will clear the overflow flag, and the same operation is repeated. That's how it is. Okay. So this is what is known as a counter mode of operation. Yes, I hope this concept is clear. This is what is known as a counter. This way we can virtually we can give the clock pulses to the timer, because in physical hardware we can connect a oscillator or we can connect a switching push button switches. From there we can give the clock pulses. But in virtual condition we can view the clock pulse using the physical pins of the ports, P3.5 or P3.4. We can make use of only these two pins. Only this pin and this pin. This pin is P3.4. P3.4. This is for counter 0. There is timer 0. It's nothing but timer 0. Okay. So this pin is P3.5. This is for timer 1. That means it is a counter 1. Okay. That's about the counter operation. Okay, so we saw the various modes of operation. If you want to count more external clock pulses, then we can go for a mode 1, where we can count 65,536 number of clock pulses. Whereas if less number of events to be counted, we can go for mode 2, where we can count maximum of 256 number of clock pulses. Okay, so TCON register, this we discussed, guys. TCON register in the beginning we have discussed. We need not look into this again. TCON register. This is clear. Okay. Okay. This next is gate bit. In all our TMOD register, we had one gate bit. That gate bit is used to control how the timer is started and stopped. Gate 1 is set to 1, gate bit is set to 1 for either for timer 0 or timer 1. Okay. Then the start and stop of the timer are done external through pins P3.2 and P3.3 for timer 0 and timer 1 respectively. Okay, fine. What is this P3.2 and P3.3? Let's look into this physical pin diagram. Okay. P3.2 and P3.3, that is pin number 12 and pin number 13. It corresponds to interrupt 0, okay, bar indicates active low signal, and interrupt 1 bit. Okay. These are actually external hardware input pins, external hardware interrupt input pins. But the same interrupt input, this we discuss in the next chapter, that is when we discuss interrupts. These pins, which acts as a external hardware input pins, interrupt input pins, can also be used as a gate input, okay, so that we can start and stop the timer using external hardware, using a switch, external switch connected to the timer. For example, let's say we have connected one switch to the P3 dot. This I'll show you the P3 dot, for example. We have connected one switch to P3.2. So this is the switch. Okay. So through a resistor, we have to connect it to VCC. Why it is so, we'll understand later. Okay. Anyway, so now what is the situation is when this is a push button. Basically, it represents a push button. When it is pressed, that means pin is shorted to ground. Why? Because this zero potential. This when the switch is closed, the pin is shorted to ground through the switch. Okay. When the switch is open, then the pin will be shorted to VCC. Pin is shorted to VCC. Okay. So based on, since it is active low signal, when it is 0, it will take it as interrupt. Why? Because it's active low signal. We know the complement convention in logic design. So complement indicates complement of the value of the variable. If A is 0, 0 complement is 1. Similarly, these two are the active low signals, active low input signals. So these two signals are effective only when they are 0. That means only when the switch is pressed, these pins are shorted to ground. That means it will take that as a input condition. So this will trigger the 0 on these pins, will trigger the microcontroller, because they are the external interrupt pins. So these are used. This condition or this arrangement is used as a method of starting and stopping the timer, starting and stopping the timer or hardware, timer or counter hardware, when gate bit is set to 1. When gate bit is set to 1. Whereas if gate bit is 0, no matter what is the pin switch condition, either 0 or 1, microcontroller will not accept any interrupt from these pins. And the start and stop of the timer has to be done using set B and clear instruction. Set B and clear instruction. That's what it is. Okay. So this is shown in this hardware. We can understand from this diagram. Okay. So P3.2 and P3.3. P3.2, that is the interrupt 0. This pin is interrupt 0, INT 0 bar. So this is used for the timer 0. P3.3 is interrupt 1. This is used for timer 1. Okay. Fine. This hardware allows to start and stop the timer externally at any time via a simple switch. We can connect a push button switch. As we push button on switch also I showed in one of the class. Using the push button switch, we can do this. Okay, this is a physical hardware, for the timer. So the source of the clock pulse for a timer, assuming it is a timer operation. If it is a counter, the source of the clock pulse is external pin. Okay, so if it is a timer 0, CT bar is 0. The clock pulses. This is the timer hardware. This is the timer hardware. Timer hardware will accept the clock pulses through internal oscillatory circuit. For example, 11.0592 megahertz divided by 12. This is megahertz divided by 12, 921.6 kilohertz. So that will be the clock source for the timer when CT bar is 0. Whereas when CT bar is 1, that means, okay, just observe this. For both the condition, okay, it is assumed that gate is 0. Gate is 0. Okay. So when your CT bar is 1, the clock pulses are from the external device which are connected to P3.4 or P3.5. P3.4 corresponds to timer 0 input, that is counter 0. P3.5 corresponds to timer 1 or counter 1. That's all. Okay. Now this, okay, see, this is the see, up to this point, this indicates the source of clock pulse. It can be internal oscillator or external hardware or oscillatory circuit. But these clock pulses are fed to the timer based on this logic, based on the logic given at the bottom. What is this logic? Let us look into this logic now. So let us say, for example, what we require is timer run bit. Timer run bit, either TR0 or TR1. If it is set to 1, that means this AND gate, one of the input is 1. Other input depends on this condition. What this condition corresponds to? Gate bit. Okay. Now, if gate bit is 0, for example, gate bit is 0. Let us say, for example, it is 0. 0 indicates start and stop of the timer is done using programming method. Using programming method. If this gate bit is 0, this not gate output is 1. Okay. So if this is 1, irrespective of this pin, irrespective of the data on the other input pin of the not gate, OR gate, this is the OR gate, okay, which is nothing but the interrupt pin. Interrupt pin is P3.2 and P3.3. Just now we saw, P3.2 is for timer 0 and P3.1 is for timer 1. What is P3.2 and P3.3 guys? It is nothing but the external hardware interrupt input pins. Okay, it doesn't matter it is 0 or 1. Since one of the input of the OR gate is 1, output of this OR gate is 1. So this output of this AND gate is 1. That means this physically indicates that switch is closed. That means timer starts receiving the clock pulse from either from internal oscillator circuit or from the external source, depending on CT bar bit, whether it is 0 or 1. Other possibility is that that gate bit is 1, for example. Let us say gate bit is 1. Output of this NOT gate is 0. Now, output of this OR gate depends on the other input. What is the other input? Whether the interrupt pins are set to 1 or 0. For example, let us say we are using P3.2, for example, P3.2. That is for counter, that's for, timer 0. That is for timer 0. If this pin is externally, if it is 0, since it is active low signal, internally it is taken as 1. Internally it is taken as 1. That means when it goes from high to low, it is active signal. It is active signal. This will trigger the circuit. So that means when it is 0, that means the effective pin is 1. Okay. Then when the effective pin is 1, the output of this OR gate is 1. Then the timer starts counting the clock pulse. Okay. From either from the internal oscillatory source or from the external oscillatory source. That means it is external oscillatory source means it is a counter. Internal oscillatory source it means it is a timer. What is the only point here we have to understand is this gate bit. If gate bit is 0, start and stop of the timer is done using the programming method. Okay. If this gate bit is 1, start and stop of the timer hardware is done using external pins, which will give logic 1 and logic 0 to start the timer and counter. Okay. So that means, just in a simple words, this switch is enabled or disabled, that is controlling of the counting of clock pulse. Either it can be using programming method, in which case gate bit should be equal to 0, or it can be done using an external hardware, which that means a physical pin connected to P3.2 and P3.3. Okay, when gate bit is set to 1. Okay, so this is how the gate bit is used. Okay, this is C program. Let us not go into the C program. We are not discussing this, because of the amount of syllabus we have. Earlier we had a C program discussion also, but now it's not possible. Okay, so any other speed of the 8051 may recent version. Okay, reduce the number. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That we have discussed. No problem. Okay, C program. Fine. Yes, I think this completes the counter program. Next in the next class we'll start with the next topic. We can start with the next unit. Just a second. Just one more second. I think guys are already getting late to the class. This completes the timer and counter programming. Next, we have to go to the interrupts. Next, in the next class, we'll start with the interrupts. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you, guys. See you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.